Pick up your iPhone, flip it over. Designed by Apple in California, assembled in China. That second line, that's the problem. Apple, worth $3 trillion. The symbol of American innovation. But 95% of iPhones are made in China. Not just made, hostage to.
And the US and China? Not friends anymore!
So what happens when the world's most valuable company relies entirely on a country it might go to war with? The most dangerous business dependency in history.
Welcome to the Monopoly File!
Where Apple thought they owned Boardwalk. Turns out China owns the dice. Year 2000. Apple is struggling. Steve Jobs needs cheap manufacturing at scale. Enter China. He builds Apple's entire supply chain there. Every component, every factory. By 2007, iPhone launches. By 2010, Apple is all in. Steve Jobs built Apple on one principle: control everything, except manufacturing. That was his compromise. Tim Cook, then COO, perfected the supply chain by going all in on China. Under Cook, China production 50% to 95%. China revenue 10B to 70B. Supplier diversity gone. Jobs wanted efficiency. Cook built dependency. You can't just build in one country and leave. You fuse with it. By 2015, Apple doesn't work with China. It works inside China, and China knows it. When you're this dependent, you don't make demands. You make compromises.
Compromise 1. Censorship. In China, the New York Times app? Gone. VPNs? Banned.
Over 50,000 apps deleted. Apple's line: we follow local laws. Translation: we need that Chinese money.
Compromise 2. Your data. 2018. Apple stores Chinese users' data on state-run servers.
Beijing has full access. Under Chinese law, they can't refuse government requests. Tim Cook meets Chinese officials more than US Congress because Beijing can shut down production. Compromise. 3. Blood Foxconn's Shenzhen factory. 14 workers commit suicide in 6 months. Foxconn's solution? Install nets to catch falling workers. Not improve conditions? Install nets. Apple's response? We're deeply troubled. Then ordered 90 million more iPhones. 2020. Reports link Apple suppliers to Uyghur forced labor. Congress proposes a bill banning forced labor imports. Apple's response? They lobbied against it. Publicly, zero tolerance for forced labor. Privately, tried to kill the bill. That's not compromise. That's complicity. Why doesn't Apple just leave? They're trying. By 2024, 7% of iPhones made in India, except 93% still in China. Reason 1. Scale. Foxconn. Zhengzhou. 350,000 workers. One facility. 1 million iPhones per day. No other country can match that. Reason 2. Speed. In the US, prototype changes take days. In China, a Foxconn engineer walks to the floor at 2 a.m., wakes 1,000 workers. New prototype by 6 a.m. That's not efficiency. That's labor exploitation as competitive advantage.
Reason 3, cost. Moving elsewhere means 20-30% higher costs. That's $200 more per iPhone, or smaller profits.
Guess which one shareholders prefer? Apple stays.
Apple stays. Dependent. Vulnerable. Trapped. They thought they were playing the game.
China doesn't just make Apple's products. They use Apple as leverage. Pelosi visits Taiwan, calls for boycotts. US bans Huawei chips. China investigates Apple. Apple doesn't decide policy, but always pays the price. Leverage 2. The economic weapon. Apple makes $70 billion annually from Chinese customers, 20% of revenue. If Beijing turns public opinion, sales collapse overnight.
Leverage 3. The Taiwan Doomsday. If China invades Taiwan, US sanctions freeze everything.
No factories, no components. iPhone production stops. Apple's stock crashes. Tech sector crashes. China doesn't need to beat America militarily. They just turn off the factories. What's Apple doing? Diversifying. India, 2021, 1%. 2024, 7%. Target 2027, 25%. Vietnam assembles MacBooks.
Mexico builds components. Experts say 10-15 years to reduce dependency if China doesn't retaliate mid-transition.
They're climbing out of quicksand. Every move slow, dangerous. Apple did this to themselves. Jobs bet on efficiency. Cook doubled down for profit. Now the entire US economy depends on that decision. Tesla, Nike, Starbucks, all chained to China. Globalization promised stability, delivered fragility. We built an economy where the most valuable company depends entirely on a geopolitical rival. And we're just hoping that doesn't break. We gave China all the factories, hoping they'd never use them as weapons. What does this mean for you? Short term, nothing. Your iPhone works. Long term, 3 futures.
Scenario 1, gradual decoupling. iPhones get pricier over the next 15 years. It's survivable.
Scenario 2, Taiwan invasion. Apple cut off overnight. Shortages. Panic. Scenario 3, status quo. Everyone pretends the risk doesn't exist until it does. Your iPhone isn't just a phone, it's a bet that 2 rival superpowers keep cooperating just long enough for your next upgrade. Your iPhone isn't a miracle of American innovation. It's a miracle you're still getting it. Built in a country that censors your apps, steals your data, exploits workers, and holds Apple hostage.
Apple chose profit over principles every time.
We believe in human rights, as long as it doesn't hurt margins. So next time you see that glowing Apple logo, remember, it's not designed in California. It's designed for California, built in China, controlled by China. And you paid $200 for the privilege. You're not the customer, you're the product.
China owns the factory. Apple, the most American company. Powered by China.
Is your iPhone dangerous? Probably not. Is the system that makes it? Absolutely. Next time you unlock your phone, ask yourself, what happens when the factory goes dark? Next episode, Bernard Arnault, 1 French billionaire, 75 luxury brands, Louis Vuitton, Dior, Tiffany. He owns them all. Net worth, $200 billion. He doesn't just sell luxury, he defines it. Why does a handbag cost $5,000? Because he said so. How does one man control what expensive means? By owning every brand you've ever heard of and crushing the ones he doesn't. This was the Monopoly Files. Play rich or get played. Subscribe. Because the game is rigged.